Her first big decision will be to name a running mate, and for the first time in years, Democrats do have a strong bench. There's several Democratic governors from red states, including some from red states, who have had their names floated as potential candidates for vice president. So, Rick, if you had Kamala Harris's ear, what would you advise her? Who would you advise her to
Well,
choose?
I think it's going to come down to 4 characteristics. One, it's going to be white, it's going to be male, it's going to be a moderate, and it's probably going to be a governor. You know, Josh Shapiro, Pennsylvania, definitely he polls very well with Trump supporters. Pennsylvania is necessary for the Democrats to win. Has pretty strong pro-Israel stance, which may be a problem. Right. Andy Beshear of Kentucky has been named, again, as a counterpoint to J.D. Vance. Roy Cooper and Mark Kelly of Arizona. So I think they all share the ability to moderate the liberalness of Kamala Harris. They also can say, we've done stuff as governors, and I think that's going to be important because, you know, many people are going to look, what did the VP do?
So you mentioned Mark Kelly and his name. I mean, 2 weeks ago, I wouldn't have put him on this list, and all of a sudden his name is everywhere. So, Ben, what does he bring?
Well, he addresses the border czar thing that came up. I mean, there is 354 miles of land that's bordered between 2 states of Mexico and Arizona. He's been the senator there, taking over for McCain for a while now. So he's not only seen it by living there, being a resident, but also being in as a senator and working from that angle. So I do think he brings that perspective and the missteps that took place during the Biden administration and Harris's job that she's done. So that, along with who he is as a person, he's got some genuine stories to tell that will hook into people's needs and desires for people in those positions, like a retired U.S. Navy captain who fought in the Gulf War, a former astronaut. So, I mean, he's a very compelling personality.
Man, he looks presidential too. I mean, to the extent people are worried about, is there someone who could, at least look like they're ready on day one? Right. But he's a senator, and to take him out of the Senate is risky in Arizona.
Yes. But they do have a Democratic governor there who would appoint, right?
Yeah, but yes.
So
but
who, if you had...
I like him a lot. I just wish he was a governor and not a senator, because I just think they're going to worry about that a lot. I mean, Shapiro, I have your exact view about. I have a concern about his criticisms of pro-Palestinian supporters, whether that's, he would be my choice. Pennsylvania, I agree, is critical. I realize that her candidacy opens up maybe some of the southern states, but 19 electoral votes in Pennsylvania, I just don't see them getting there. So it's critical. But yeah, I'll tell you, I'm not a big fan of is Roy Cooper, and I mean, this is going to sound terrible, but it's age again. I mean, I just think, Kelly's 60, Cooper's 67.
Yeah, I'm going to push back just a little bit on Roy Cooper because he was my boss. I got to work for Roy Cooper, and fantastic leadership. So I'm going to push back just a little bit on that. But I see the age, but 67's not old.
Well,
I'd agree. I'm 67, by
right.
the way. So,
Luke.
I think the variable we haven't considered that's important behind the scenes is how Harris connects with these potential nominees, right? That is the biggest thing. The presidential candidate needs to pick somebody they can trust and be their surrogate in all possible situations. And a lot of that is just personal vibe and spending time with the candidate. So we don't know how that's going. I think in terms of which candidate makes sense, if I'm advising Harris, it's no doubt, it's got to be Shapiro. You can't win without Pennsylvania. And there's little other way to help guarantee a victory or get you as close to that as possible as picking Shapiro. I think Senator Kelly would be great as well, but I'm not so sure Arizona is going to be in play.
Right.
I also think we're slamming the Democrats and Biden on immigration. I think a lot of that is how the Democrats have failed to make the argument that they're doing things well, right? I mean, I don't think the border was well managed under the Trump administration, but through his hyperbolic approach, he says it was, and everything was great. And if you look at the numbers, things are better now. So I think they can reclaim that issue, but remains to be seen.
The borders are term. I mean, I don't recall exactly what she was charged
She
to
was
do.
supposed to get to the so-called root causes. She was supposed to figure out why people want to leave Central America, and I mean, it wasn't.
And Luke, I don't think it matters what we think. I think the polls clearly state that they don't trust the Biden administration, or they don't believe that they've done the right thing with immigration. So I'm not sure how in the next few months they would be able to recapture that and convince people that things aren't really as bad.
I think it's a messaging failure more than a policy failure, because I think the policy situation has improved,
Right.
as Biden was saying, but the messaging has not been captivating or persuasive enough
Same
to
with the
change
economy.
that public
They've
opinion.
done a very poor job of messaging and getting people to see the benefits of the Biden administration. Part of that, Biden helped by performing so poorly during the debate.
So Kelly also, of course, is the husband of Representative Gifford, former Representative Gifford, right, who was badly wounded in a shooting a number of years ago, and that does play to the gun issue too. I mean, he says he's a Second Amendment guy, but with limits. So that could
And he does. And in addition to that story, he also, both him and his wife were trying to have children with medical support. So he also brings that part to
The IVF issue.
Yes, that's right. Before the attempted assassination.
Okay.